Welcome back to another review, this time for the anime The Klutzy Class Monitor and the Girl with the Short Skirt, which had 12 episodes and was airing in spring of 2026. Synopsis on any list. Sakura Daimon is the school's prefect. A prefect is a student who is authorized to enforce discipline. As a prefect, he's supposed to be a role model to other students, but unfortunately, he is not perfect. Hinata is one of the people who Sakura Daimon has tried to discipline into wearing appropriate school attire, but she has thus far been disobedient. And so this is the story of the two interacting with one another. So the show is a rom-com. We have Sakura Daimon, who is the black-haired guy on the right with the little armband. And we have Hinata, who is prominently displayed in the picture. I believe it's a girl. And she is wearing a short skirt, while Sakura Daimon is the prefect and trying to enforce the discipline. Now, Hinata is essentially a somewhat aggressive tsundere, I would classify as. Meanwhile, Sakura Daimon is a very honest stickler for rules. That an honest, dumb stickler for rules, I should qualify. Now, this at the very beginning, we have a scene where he's naturally telling her that she's not allowed to wear a short skirt. She, indignant, is why do you care so much? But he's honest. He's saying, hey, if you wear this skirt like that, people can see your underwear. And she naturally is like, nuh-uh, people can't. You know, we have this back and forth, which he responds and says, yes, they can, because I already saw your underwear. Which naturally leads her to be embarrassed and, you know, go aggressive on him. But that is the dynamic at the beginning. He is a very strict, he is a rule stickler, while she is somewhat free of how she wants to express herself. Now, what I do like is that Sakura Daimon is somewhat weird character, because in these kinds of stories, you would expect Hinata, you know, she's a girl, she is like the free spirit, she probably doesn't care about school, but Sakura Daimon, he is a, you know, stickler for rules and trying to enforce discipline. He is probably super smart, but he is not. He is failing his classes or tests because he's not very smart. He doesn't do well at school. The only real things he has going for him is that he just is saying what he thinks. He doesn't mince his words. He doesn't really lie. And he just sticks to the rule. But the rules he sticks to is more or less the letter of the law, instead of like the idea behind some of the rules. So if the rule says, hey, the skirt has to be until the knee, then it has to go until the knee. It doesn't really matter why that is or what we want to change. He's just following the rules as they are written. He's also someone who goes outside after school, catching people that are not going home directly, because seemingly there's a rule that you have to go from school home without any break, so you can't really go and go get some fast food or buy some snacks. You are supposed to just go home. I'm assuming, side tangent, it's for insurance reasons. So if something happens, the insurance of the school is not liable, because where I am, the school would be liable until you are back home, but that only counts for the direct route from the school to home. If you do like, hey, I go and buy some snacks and I don't know, a car crashes through the through the supermarket, yeah, tough luck. Not our problem anymore. So I'm assuming that is the idea, because this is not only for this type of for this story, but I have heard this from a lot of other school shows as well, where they are like, hey, you have to go home, which means that he's naturally going, hey, you can't go and get a snack or go watch a movie, you have to go home. Now he has no problem if you go home and then go, because that is fine. That is not against the rules. Again, he's just for the letter of the law, essentially. Now, naturally, in this rom-com, we have some supporting characters. On Sakura Diamond's side, we have some crazy other people in those committee roles. We have someone who's responsible for the library. We have someone who's responsible for like the health thing. I believe he's like the health assistant. And all of them are crazy. All of them have some, the one that is responsible for the health department. He is a former delinquent, and he still has that, whenever you bump into him, he goes ballistic in the first second. But he seems a pretty chill guy and very concerned about the health of the students. And these are, all of these characters are a little bit crazy. On Hinata's side, she has two friends. Those are seemingly normal, but they are also a little bit crazy. Not as crazy as Sakura Diamond's side, but still. And yes, this is mostly, a rom-com. A lot of comedy, a lot of the over-the-top kind of stuff. Naturally, we also have a little bit romance, because as they butt heads, he slowly but surely gets to know them better. She gets to know him better, and slowly but surely they come close to one another. And that is mostly it. Not much else really to say. The art style is fine, animation is fine. I mean, it's a rom-com. Not much you need to expect, because there's not going to be huge action. I really like the idea of the vice president and his romance. I wish this would work out a little bit better, because the show doesn't, we have our main pair, but the show also is like, okay, how about this? How about a little pair here, or maybe these, or, and the vice president also has someone, and I do like that whole storyline quite a bit. But sadly, it seems like, at least in this season, we did not get that much progress, which I'm a little bit bummed about. But nonetheless, let's see what people thought about the show. Anilist has it at 76%. My anime list at 7.64 with 13,000 users. I mean, that is a good rating. A lot of people saw it, so the vote is pretty solid. And I would also give it like a 7 out of 10. It's a fine show. It has a little twist. I really like Sakura Daimon as a character. Sure, he is, a little bit one-dimensional, but at least he's honest. You know what he is about. It's easy to follow his thought process, because there's not a lot going on there. He's very straightforward, but he's also the one essentially progressing the relationship, because he's just a very honest guy, which I do like, instead of, having some goody two-shoes or someone who's like, oh no, and I can't. And this character at least does something.